Hi there, I hope you're well. In this quick follow-on video, I'm going to be taking a look at Lidl's 2021 Parkside Plunge Saw. So yeah, if you saw my video on Friday, I compared the Screwfix McAllister saw to the Parkside, the model that I had was from 2019. Just to give you a sort of a general overview of what the current state of entry-level plunge saws is like. Obviously the Lidl Parkside Plunge Saw comes out today. I had a couple of queries at the very end of that video where it looked like there might have been a couple of slight changes to the Parkside saw for the 2021 version. So I popped out to my local store in Hammersmith today and I picked one up, and I'm going to just very quickly go through the differences right now. So as I mentioned before, the scope of delivery on these saws is pretty well established. We have the usual slightly odd-shaped box with the usual saw and a book of words and a pair of guide rails, and again these are the standard Parkside style, so similar to the Festool rails but with a different left-hand edge. That's what puts me off them a little bit, so that hasn't changed at all. So this is the Parkside PTSS 1200 C2 model number. This has been widely available throughout mainland Europe in 2020, but it's only just coming to the UK today on June the 6th, and thank you very much to all the folks who mentioned that in the comments. There was particularly someone from Germany and someone from Italy who let me know about that. Other than the different sort of faceplate and the paint job, the main difference in this saw is that it has a riving knife, or what Parkside, what Lidl are calling a spacer wedge. I don't know why they're calling it that. You and I would call it a riving knife. So what's a riving knife? Well, a riving knife on a plunge saw drops down behind the blade as the blade is plunged and prevents the two halves of the material closing up, thus pinching the blade. Now, I've got to say, although all my Festool saws have a drop-down riving knife, a number of other saws don't, including the Maffel and Bosch. Whether it's genuinely useful or not is going to depend on the sort of things you're doing, and certainly in man-made manufactured boards like MDF and plywood, sheet goods, I've never had that material move sufficiently to pinch a blade. I've got to say though, this is almost unique, if I can mangle my grammar, in an entry-level plunge saw. The only other entry-level saw that I know of that has a riving knife fitted as standard is the Aldi Work Zone. So no harm in having one fitted, and it's definitely a plus if you're going to be considering ripping natural timbers. Other than that, and the previously mentioned cosmetic differences, the two saws are near identical. Still the same 1200 watt motor, still brushed, still no soft start, still no brake. Comes supplied with exactly the same blade, so a 2.6 millimeter kerf, 165 mm with a 20 mm bore. Again, that's the standard Makita size blade, so plenty of choice to upgrade that to one with a higher tooth count. The blade is perfectly decent at this kind of price point, and the price is still the same as the saws were last year at £70, £69.95 I paid for mine. Should you buy it? Again, I don't think I've changed my opinion of it versus the McAllister, simply because of the guide rail differences. The guide rails are identical to previous year's guide rails. Total credit to Lidl for making these guide rails available as extras. I'll put a link in the video descriptions. Company called Companas, who will actually supply them for you. They come from Germany. But again, the biggest headache for me is that they won't fit on the standard Makita pattern rail. The Makita pattern rails, as I said in the previous video and many others, is exactly the same as the Festool pattern rail, but with an extra anti-tipping lip on it, which unfortunately gets in the way. The base plate on these saws is just too wide to fit on that rail, so your choices are really rather restricted, and the reason for that is that the Makita pattern rail is the most widely copied, the most widely available third-party rail. The saws still work absolutely fine on the Evolution guide rails, no problem at all with that, but these Evolution rails are in rather short supply, and it looks like there's a 2-month waiting list for the two 1400mm rail kit to become available. But other than that, I think my preference for the McAllister and the reasons for that still hold good. It's a great saw, fantastic value for money. The addition of a riving knife is of course very welcome. But for most people, I suspect that's not really going to be fully utilised. And I think for the money, just to be able to use third-party Makita style rails, then I would still go with a McAllister. But as I say, it's a great saw. I like the new look of it, the darker grey, and the riving knife does no harm. I said it before, on many occasions I would have killed to have had a saw like this at this kind of price point when I was first setting out. But I'm not first setting out. We've all moved on a fair bit, and there is some competition around this entry-level price point these days. So there we are. That's a very quick whistle-stop tour around the new features or new feature of the Lidl Parkside saw for 2021 here in the UK. That's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it useful. Thanks for taking a look, and I'll see you in the next one.